It's interesting to see what happens when people get stimulus money. So, we've seen a number of different stories over the past few weeks and months about how people have had their life saved as a result of stimulus, right? How they've been able to pay bills, get out of debt, start a business, remove some of that social anxiety, family, food insecurity, whatever it is, right? We've seen these stories about people who've been able to actually do something with their lives because of stimulus. Well, now we have this new story out this morning, and it turns out that this is pretty amazing, that in half of young investors invested their stimulus money. Isn't that surprising? Half of young investors actually invested their stimulus money.
Oh, crap. Well, you know what that means? They're going to be
What does that mean?
Some of these people have taken this stimulus and they've used it for positive things and they've advanced society a little bit. We got to make sure we cut them out of the next stimulus. We can't have that.
Exactly. That's exactly when I saw this. I was like, that's exactly what's happened here. How dare these people? How dare these people actually make some money off and actually put this money to work? Half of young investors invested their stimulus money. And here's where they put it. Let's see. Of those aged 18 to 34, 49% did so. 15% invested in individual stocks. 11% purchased cryptocurrency. 9% invested in mutual funds. 8% bought exchange-traded funds. So mostly they put it into assets. Now, I wish they would have put more into crypto as an asset instead of stocks. But I also wish more people would have put it into real estate, because we're going to talk about the declining U.S. dollar in just a few moments on the show. With the rise of investing chatter on social media and the ability to make trades on a mobile app, it's no wonder people use some of their newfound cash to invest. During the pandemic, there were a lot of people who weren't as distracted with their normal lives. We were spending a ton more time on our phones. More than a quarter of investors polled started investing within the last 18 months, and 73% began in 2019 or earlier. Yeah. Momentum surveyed 5,000 U.S. adults between August 4th and August 9th. Of those, 45% are investors. So now it's just part of their overall financial picture. They made money. So they invested their stimulus money in stocks, mutual funds, ETFs, real estate, and into real estate. Cryptocurrency, huge. Look at so the dark blue are those investors who started in 2020 during the pandemic using stimulus money.
Good for them.
Yeah. But again, this is exactly, this is like, you have these people like Susie Orman, like the key to your freedom is having that security, that emergency fund. You need an emergency fund.
Do you know how many people in this country are this far away from complete financial collapse and like an accident? Somebody cuts a finger in their house. They don't have insurance, so they've got to go to the emergency room. So they're walking on eggshells, knowing that if they get injured or if something happens, their car breaks down, a tire blows, they're screwed. And so they get in such an uproar when they think for 1 second that somebody's going to take some of this stimulus money and save $1 of it for an emergency fund. Like that little bit of security that people need in order to enjoy their lives pisses the government off.
Right. They'd much rather have it in U.S. dollars, right? Just have it in U.S. dollars, a declining U.S. dollar. If you have savings, you're not going to be as dependent on us. We can't have that. You need to depend on the government. We're the ones that are going to make sure you get only what you need. So don't save it. Wait for us to help you. I mean, and those who say that's garbage, to me, it's hypocrisy, because you remember during conservatives, at least this is why, I love calling out hypocrisy. Remember during the George W. Bush years, one of the big controversies, of course, is that conservatives wanted you to be able to use your Social Security money invested in the stock market, right? This was basically going to be a boon for Wall Street, of course, right? That's what it was. It was a big wet kiss for Wall Street. And of course, there was huge backlash. No, it's risky. How are you going to do this? And but conservatives wanted it. President Bush wanted it, and then he scrapped that plan. But now conservatives are against you having a little extra money that you could actually invest. It's funny how times change, isn't it? Like, oh, these people are using their money to invest in stocks and crypto.
And what's funny is they take the money. We give them money every month. We give each Congress and Senate person about $15,000 minimum a month, right? And They invest it. They become millionaires while they're in there. So if we can't invest our money or we can't have savings, then it should pass to them too. So I think we should lower their wages to $15 an hour. Okay,
let's do it.
$15 an hour. Everybody, let's vote. Who all wants to lower Congress and Senate's hourly wage to $15 an hour? Make them live the same way we do. We need to remove their health care benefits, make them through the employer. So we will decide like what benefits we'll give them, like Cobra or something like that, and make them pay like $1,000 a month for it or something like that. Like we need to make them live the same way they expect us to live. Otherwise, they're never going to get it. I know, Stewie. Otherwise, they're never going to get it.
$15 an hour for Congress. Take away their. I don't know if we should take away their $30,000 a year furniture budget.
Like I said last week, I think we could cut it in half. I think they'd be good with $15,000. We'll just make them go to IKEA, and then they have to have a camera so we can watch them put it. And they have to put it together. They can't hire staff.
Man, IKEA furniture, putting that stuff together. Oh my God. Like I even put this is IKEA. You know, I put this together. This TV stand here. I built that, but that took me a whole day.
I don't know how many times I've put together IKEA furniture and I'll get done. I'll be like, oh crap, I put the side on backwards. It's like I got one hole that doesn't line up, and I'm like, oh man, and it wasn't clear in the instructions.
Yeah, and here, be honest. I mean, have you just left it that way? Like like if it wasn't structural and it wasn't really aesthetic and you couldn't really see it, like have you left it there where you put the wrong thing in the wrong hole and you left it?
The only time I didn't was when it was crucial to, like I couldn't put a door in.
Yeah,
so
I've done that.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm building a table right now where I built the whole table's done, and I'm like, this just doesn't look right. But the instructions were not clear at all, and it wasn't IKEA this time. We'll give them at least not credit for that. But it was, and I have to go back and redo the whole top piece. I'm so. Anyway, yes, have members of Congress build their own IKEA furniture
on video.
They'll have to buy the Gnuked bed or whatever it's called, or the Newton I don't know what they're called. Anyway,
could you imagine though? Could you imagine how they would act and what they would do if that's how they were paid? Like they were paid for the hours they actually worked, and then we could say, okay, at the end of every month, if you vote in favor of the people, like we would lobby them and be like, vote in favor of this bill, and we'll give you a 5% raise next year.
5%. By the way, I'm waiting to see if inside of this reconciliation package, it's not finalized yet, but will there be a raise for members of Congress? Wouldn't that be rich? And I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's already been talked about that there would be a raise inside of this stimulus package for members of Congress. I mean,
I don't think it was for members of Congress. It was for aides, like for their aides and stuff. At least what I saw, I didn't see anything about Congress or senators getting a raise, but maybe I didn't see a portion of that. But it seemed to be an increase for any like aides or people that they hired. Yeah.
I did see that, which is good, because they get paid like crap wages and they, work 20 hours a day, which is fine. So pay them better. Yes. But again, this is not finalized, so we do not yet know. But, we'll see. We'll see. So young people investing young people took stimulus money and you know what? They didn't spend it all on groceries or do other things, but they put some money aside to give their life, their future some positivity here, right? They bought some crypto. It would be interesting to see how much of their returns they received as a result of this. Like how much did they increase their position? Right? Did they buy Bitcoin at the dip and now they've doubled their amount of money that they've had invested? Like it would be really interesting to see that. Clayton, you just raised a good point. Dean says Congress should have to put all of our IKEA furniture together. That way we can actually work what we pay for. I love that. Yes. Congress should put just send it to Chuck Schumer to put together your new Gesundken bed or whatever it is.
What a novel idea. We could make our currency backed by their labor.
Exactly. I love this. Have him put the malm together. You have to put the malm dresser together. Yeah. What else? Put
Correctly,
some,
too. It has to be correct.
Yeah. To put that together. Yeah. Put any of these together, okay? The Schmadstad Plaza. Schmadstad Plaza. Put the Schmadstad Plaza together. I love the names. Schmadstad Plaza. Anyway, so young people, good on you for investing. Just be smart about it. And look, kids, I mean, that's the thing, like rainy day fund. Kids can sleep on couches. They're resilient, right? Like you're not having to take care of 80, three kids in your family. You're a young person, right? So, how much of a huge rainy day fund do you need set aside? Have that rainy day fund set aside in the form of crypto. It's pretty darn liquid. If you need to move that money out into US dollars for any reason, great. And more places are accepting it anyway. So take some of that investment money or stimulus money and put it away. I say I'm all for it.
On my website, I take crypto.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. You can also become a channel member by going to morninginvest.com/join, where you can stick it to the mainstream media and support independent journalism. We're able to bring you the stories that you won't see on any of the major billionaire-backed networks. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time, everyone.